It's just a penny. A simple, humble coin we often toss aside without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these seemingly ordinary coins could be worth millions of dollars? Yes, you heard that right, $45 million. Stick around as we dive into the fascinating history and incredible value of the 1995 1-cent coin. So, let's start with the basics. What makes the 1995 penny so special? After all, there are millions of these coins out there. To the untrained eye, it looks just like any other penny from the 90s. The front features Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait, and the back displays the Lincoln Memorial, design that's been around since 1959. But not all 1995 pennies are created equal. Some have something that can make them worth a fortune. And trust me, it has to do with a tiny but incredibly important detail, an error that only a few of these coins have. Normally, pennies are made from a copper-plated zinc core. But a small batch of 1995 pennies was struck using the wrong type of planchet, a brass planchet intended for a different denomination. This meant that these particular coins have a different weight, color, and composition from the standard penny, making them incredibly rare. If you look closely at these error coins, you'll notice the subtle difference. The coin may appear slightly more golden in color and slightly heavier than a regular penny. The contrast is not massive, but it's enough for experts to distinguish an error coin from a regular one. This tiny detail is what has made these particular pennies a collector's dream. The US Mint processes millions of coins each day, and sometimes mistakes can slip through the cracks. In this case, a small batch of incorrect planchets was used for the penny production. And because the error was so rare, only a handful of these brass 1995 pennies exist today. So how did this happen? Well, the US Mint operates at an industrial scale. They produce billions of coins every year to meet the demands of circulation. Given the sheer volume of coins being made, it's not surprising that something as simple as a mix-up with planchets could happen. The brass planchets meant for a different coin ended up being used for the pennies, and this small batch was unintentionally released into circulation. The rarity of these error pennies is what makes them so highly sought after. As soon as the coin collectors began to realize that a few 1995 pennies had slipped through the system with a distinct composition, the hunt was on. To a collector, the excitement of finding something so unique is what drives up its value. And the 1995 brass penny became one of the most valuable coins in circulation. But the real story behind its massive value lies in the rarity of the error. The value of this penny skyrocketed when it was discovered that there were only a few in existence. Initially, these error coins could be found for a few hundred or even a few $1,000s. But over time, as their rarity became more widely recognized, their value skyrocketed. The 1995 penny began to appear on auction sites and rare coin markets. People soon realized that this wasn't just any old penny. It was a coin that had a significant mistake, one that could turn a regular penny into something far more valuable. The excitement around this error only grew as more collectors learned about it. Coins like this often end up in private collections, which makes finding one of these pennies even more difficult. As the years passed, the value of the 1995 brass error penny continued to climb. A particular penny made headlines when it was sold for a staggering $45 million at a private auction. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that was originally worth 1 cent, a humble penny, was now worth a fortune, $45 million. This was not a fluke or a lucky sale. It was the result of years of collecting, searching, and recognizing the unique qualities of these error pennies. Now, you might be wondering, how could a penny be worth so much money? After all, the value of a coin is usually based on its rarity, its historical significance, and its demand. In this case, the brass 1995 penny checks all the boxes. It's incredibly rare, with only a few known to exist, and it's highly sought after by coin collectors who understand the value of such a rare mistake. The 1995 brass penny is considered one of the most sought-after coins of the 20th century. It holds a place of honor in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, due to the sheer rarity of the error and the significance it has in the history of coin production. Now, let's dive into some of the controversy surrounding these error pennies. You may be wondering, if the 1995 penny was struck with an incorrect planchet, does that make it a legal coin? After all, the coin was produced by the US Mint, but it was produced using the wrong materials. Should collectors and investors be allowed to own these rare pennies? It turns out that the legality of owning and selling these era coins has been a point of contention for some time. Many of the 1995 brass pennies that exist were never actually released into circulation by the mint. These coins were supposed to be destroyed or melted down, but somehow, a small number of them escaped the mint's control and made their way into the hands of private collectors. Rumors suggest that some of these coins were even stolen or leaked out of the mint in the years following production. Although the details remain murky, the question then becomes, is it legal to own one of these coins? The US government has made efforts to reclaim these rare pennies, but coin collectors argue that if they've acquired the coins legally through purchase or inheritance, they should be free to keep or sell them as they wish. This legal gray area has added an extra layer of intrigue to the 1995 brass penny, as collectors debate whether these coins should be returned to the government or kept in private collections. Now that we understand the rarity and value of the 1995 era penny, you might be asking yourself how to identify one in your own collection. After all, you never know, there could be a hidden treasure sitting in your pocket right now. First, you'll want to check the weight of the coin. A standard 1995 penny weighs about 2.5 grams, while the brass era pennies are slightly heavier at around 3.1 grams. So, if you have a 1995 penny that feels a little heavier than usual, it could be worth checking further. Next, pay close attention to the color. The brass planchets have a more golden or yellowish tint compared to the copper-plated zinc pennies. The color is subtle, but if you spot a 1995 penny that looks a little different from the others, it's worth investigating. Finally, if you think you've found one of these rare pennies, it's a good idea to have it authenticated. Professional numismatists or grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify whether your penny is a true 1995 brass era coin. Getting it authenticated and graded will not only confirm its authenticity but also give it an official grade, which can influence its value. So, what does the future hold for these rare 1995 era pennies? As time goes on, it's likely that their value will continue to rise. Coins like these are considered investment grade because they are tangible assets that can store value over time. The rarity of the era coins, combined with their historical significance, makes them a valuable investment for collectors and investors alike. The world of rare coin collecting is a fascinating one, and the 1995 brass penny is just one example of how an unexpected mistake can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. If you happen to come across one of these pennies, consider yourself very lucky, because you could be holding a treasure worth millions. The 1995 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how something as simple as a penny can hold extraordinary value if it contains a rare, unique characteristic. From its humble beginnings in the mint to becoming one of the most valuable coins in history, this penny is a testament to the fascinating world of numismatics. So, next time you find a penny on the ground, take a moment to inspect it. You never know, it could be worth millions. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible stories like this one. Next, 1983 USA coin. Did you know this coin has become a rare find that could be worth millions? Let's explore why this seemingly ordinary coin is attracting such attention and making collectors eager to add it to their collections. In 1983, the United States was at a crossroads in its coin production. Economic challenges, including rising copper prices, forced the U.S. Mint to begin transitioning from traditional copper pennies to ones made primarily of zinc, with just a thin copper plating. It was an effort to save costs and keep up with the fluctuating prices of raw materials. While the vast majority of pennies produced that year were zinc-based, something went wrong at the Denver Mint. In the hustle and bustle of minting, a very small number of 1983 pennies were accidentally struck with the older copper composition. These copper-clad pennies were part of a mistake, a rare misstep that would go on to make these coins incredibly valuable. The history of the 1983 penny starts with a change that didn't seem particularly significant at the time. The transition to zinc coins wasn't highly publicized, and most people didn't even notice the difference. However, in the case of the 1983 penny, some of these coins slipped through the cracks, and instead of being minted with the new zinc copper composition, they were struck using the older copper planchets that were meant to be phased out. This mistake was quickly caught, and the US Mint corrected the error, making sure that the copper pennies were no longer produced. As a result, only a very limited number of these copper pennies are thought to have survived, and these rare coins are now worth far more than their face value. At first glance, the 1983 penny may seem indistinguishable from any other penny that you might have laying around in your pocket or coin jar. It's small, copper in color, and features the familiar design of Abraham Lincoln on one side with the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But here's the catch: while most 1983 pennies were made using a mix of zinc and copper, a small number of them were minted using the original copper formula. These rare copper pennies, which were inadvertently produced, have become a sought-after treasure for collectors, and it's this rarity that has skyrocketed their value. So, why are these 1983 copper pennies worth so much? It comes down to rarity, historical significance, and condition. After the error was discovered, the remaining copper planchets were quickly used up, and the minting process was adjusted to use the new zinc-based planchets. Because so few copper 1983 pennies were produced, their scarcity is what makes them so valuable today. It's not just any coin, it's a unique piece of US mint history, representing a pivotal moment when the country was transitioning its coinage to meet economic pressures. When we talk about value, it's not just about the copper composition. It's about how many of these coins are still out there today. The total number of surviving copper 1983 pennies is unclear, and estimates range from only a few dozen to a few hundred. This makes the coin incredibly rare, and as we all know, rare items in the world of collecting tend to appreciate in value, sometimes exponentially. Now, let's get into the specifics of how you can identify if you have one of these elusive copper pennies in your possession. Most 1983 pennies were made from a zinc core, and if you were to weigh one of these, it would weigh exactly 2.5 grams. However, the copper versions, due to their different composition, are slightly heavier. A copper 1983 penny weighs approximately 3.1 grams. So, if you have a penny from 1983 and it feels a bit heavier than usual, it's worth taking a closer look. Another way to tell if you've stumbled upon a copper 1983 penny is by examining the color. While zinc-based pennies have a more silvery, dull appearance, copper pennies have that familiar reddish-brown hue. If your penny has a rich coppery shine that seems different from the usual pennies, it could be a sign that you've found something special. But it's not just about weight and color. Authentication is key in the world of coin collecting, and there are instances where people might mistakenly believe they have found a rare penny when, in fact, it's just a regular 1983 penny with a bit of dirt or tarnish giving it a different appearance. This is why it's important to have your coin authenticated by an expert or a reputable coin grading service. Grading services like PCGS have the tools and experience to examine your coin under professional conditions, helping to verify its authenticity and condition. Once you confirm that you've found a genuine copper 1983 penny, the next question is, how much is it worth? While most 1983 pennies are worth just 1 cent, the copper ones are worth so much more, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. In rare cases, when a copper 1983 penny is in pristine condition, it can fetch a jaw-dropping price at auction. Some of these coins have sold for as much as $90 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $90 million. This staggering figure might sound like a stretch, but it's happened. A coin with historical significance, rarity, and exceptional condition can attract competitive bids from collectors eager to add such a piece to their collection. Of course, not every 1983 copper penny will sell for millions of dollars. The market for these coins depends heavily on their condition. A coin that has been well preserved, free from scratches, discoloration, and other damage, will always command a higher price. Grading is crucial, and coins that receive a high grade from professional services are often the ones that sell for large sums. But the high-end sales aren't the only ones worth noting. Even in less than perfect condition, copper 1983 pennies can still bring in impressive amounts. Coins that are graded as good or fine condition can often sell for thousands of dollars, while those with more wear and tear will bring in lower amounts. But regardless of the specific price, the rarity of the coin means it will always be worth more than its face value of 1 cent. It's also worth mentioning that the excitement surrounding the 1983 copper penny isn't just limited to the coin itself, it's about what it represents in the world of numismatics. Coin collectors are drawn to pieces with a compelling story behind them, and the 1983 copper penny is no exception. The coin's accidental creation during a critical period in US minting history makes it a fascinating object of desire for those who appreciate the history and rarity of the coins they collect. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare copper pennies, it's essential to take good care of it. Keep it in a safe place, ideally in a protective case, to avoid damage from handling. And if you think you have one, don't hesitate to reach out to a coin expert or a professional grading service for a thorough examination. Remember, authenticity is everything in the world of rare coins. The story of the 1983 copper penny is one of those rare instances where a mistake leads to an extraordinary outcome. It's a reminder that sometimes, history is made by accident, and even the most mundane objects can become incredibly valuable with time. For coin collectors and history buffs alike, this penny is not just a piece of currency, it's a tiny snapshot of a moment in history, preserved in metal, waiting to be discovered and cherished by future generations. So, next time you go through your spare change or dig through old coin jars, keep an eye out. You might just find that elusive 1983 copper penny, and if you're lucky, it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin-related content. And if you have any questions or thoughts about the 1983 penny, drop them in the comments below. See you next time.